Perfect. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. How are you? How is
I'm
Japan?
doing. It's, it's wonderful, bro. We had some fun today. Watched some Spoderman. Went to some Japanese shops. Had some really good soup. I don't know, man. It's the life. And then I just come here at night and just get triggered.
Nice.
Yeah, bro.
What are you most triggered about recently?
Most triggered? We have
Yeah,
some Democrats saying they're gonna maybe vote for MAGA and for Trump people.
yeah. Well, that's one of the things on my list, I guess. Uh, should we maybe? I
Up
guess
to you, bro.
we can start with that. I think we can start with that. I think like vote blue no matter who is kind of like a prisoner's dilemma, at least currently, where if one side doesn't cooperate and the other side doesn't cooperate, eventually you get like destroyed in that scenario. And I'm willing to say that at least currently, like it is better to support the current socialists and communists in the major elections rather than MAGA.
Dick, we
So
agree.
not as extreme as some other people. However, I think that you need to have like a standard for when the for when you have to engage with this prisoner's dilemma and not like ignore it. So that would mean like having some standard when you're willing to sacrifice a race or a few races in order to not seem like the type that always concedes.
I mean, I understand
Yeah.
the sort of game theory shit. And unlike, I don't know, the classic prisoner's dilemma where, there's no repeating, right? And there's just a dominant strategy all the time. Um, that we're in a situation which there is information, right? It's not perfect information. There are repeat players, and so potentially there are some situations in which it's rational to renege or whatever. But I just, yeah, I can grant that in principle. It just the time to do it by which, and it's unclear what it means to do it. That is to say, to like advocate that we lose races. That time for me has not arrived, and yeah, so like I don't have a problem in principle with sacrificing some races for the greater good if I believe there's a greater good or a long term goal to be achieved through finally overcoming the collective action problem. But yeah, I just like don't think that that's something we are even close to right now.
But you don't think need to have like a standard when it will be acceptable to do this?
Yeah, like I'm not sure what standard you're talking about, and so the standard is when to decide not to endorse a candidate, right, or vote for a candidate, right,
Hmm.
right.
Or when you would be willing to say, I'm giving up this race, or I'm not going to support like the socialists in this race because I think it will be worse in the long term.
Yeah, and the logic of this is not talking about preventing Marxism. It's not talking about preventing some like bad specific policy. It's not about necessarily preventing MAGA. It's about achieving the aim of future cooperation from socialists and communists, right? That's your argument, or that's the
I
benefit that
think
we're accounting
it's
for. Because in a
well, it's yeah.
it's to get the communist socialists to vote for the moderates.
I think it's one of the benefits, and the other one is so currently it is a prisoner. I said prisoner dilemma because currently we are kind of in the same boat, right? At least right now, and you only have like the one way. How can I say it? Yeah, I think it's mostly about like having getting concessions, but also like um, disrupting the path of radicalizations towards the left that the Democratic Party.
Okay, so these are very different things, right? Because like, if what you're saying is we should cause them to fail so that they lose power and go away, that's different than we should cause them to fail to encourage compliance and to encourage cooperation.
And do you think those things are in conflict?
I think they are. I think one kind of says we would all be fine if Hasan just endorsed Kamala. But I think that you would take this position whether or not he endorsed Kamala in virtue of the fear of the policies and the people themselves, the radicalization. And so the kind of prisoner's dilemma setup of it implies that this is about equal treatment, and this is about cooperation, this is about no free riding. But really, you give the game away when you say, we just want less of these people. I think. You wouldn't be fine with these people if they tried to vote for Kamala, right? If they were all gung-ho and explicitly endorsed Kamala, you wouldn't change your mind on any of your proposed strategy, right?
I'm not sure how realistic that would be. Like
whether it's realistic or not is not relevant to the question. We're trying to isolate what matters to you, your values. So whether it's realistic is tangential.
Well, it's kind of, I think, relevant because they wouldn't be the same kind of opposition if they acted in a totally different way.
That's what the question is trying to drive at, right? The question is trying to drive at that. I don't know where this came. Like, I thought you were part of a community that respected like hypotheticals to get out people's positions. It doesn't matter whether it's realistic or not. The question remains: if they had full-throatedly endorsed Kamala, would you still want them around and growing in influence?
Some of them maybe, but not others. Like the ones who are there are people who are kind of misguided about what socialism is and what communism is, and they are not like ideologically.
Okay, so forget about those. Forget about those people, right?
They self-identify.
Those people aren't relevant because those are the people who are like the rubes that are just following their leaders or whatever, right? Those people are the gettable people all the time. I'm not really like
sure.
Those aren't the people we're more focusing on. I'm focusing on the people with whom we're in this prisoner's dilemma with, because we're not in the prisoner's dilemma with those people. I thought that you're saying that we're in prisoner's dilemmas with like malicious actors who are free riding, and those aren't those people. And so I'm trying to see whether or not this game theory structure applies to the situation we're in. And it sounds like, you're still going to treat Hasan the way you treat Hasan. You're still going to treat whatever politician the way you're going to treat them. You're still going to treat Kyle Kalinske the way you want to treat them, even if they had endorsed in 2024. And that's right, correct?
Wait, no. I think we have a disconnect. So I wouldn't, like, for the purposes of the prisoner's dilemma, I would treat them like if we start complying with each other, like if both of us start cooperating, then you wouldn't have the same tactics for candidates like the big example is Hong, right? That people like Mr. Mutton and you had a big disagreement about, right? And while I personally wouldn't go as far as Mr. Mutton regarding Hong, but I don't think if we start cooperating with each other, I would be opposed. I wouldn't be opposed to like supporting people like Hong.
Yeah, but you already support people like Hong. So let's deal with Mutton then. So let's use Mutton as a case, all right? Because you already would support Hong, correct? Versus Tom Tiffany?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's deal with Mutton. If Mutton was aware that Hasan, Kyle, and Crystal, and all these other people who are the set of actors, whatever that set is, fill in whatever you want to put in that set, the problematic set. If Mutton was aware that they had all endorsed Kamala in 2024, and if that were the case, do you think Mutton's answer would change? But everything else is the same. The DSA is rising, they still have the same views they do. Hasan is rising, still the same views he has.
For Hong, maybe. I think that's like a personal thing with Hong, that she is like very close to his life and shit.
Yeah, that's okay. We're getting closer to it, right? But assume that Mike from PA had endorsed. Kamala in 2024. It wouldn't change anything, right? It doesn't sound like this is a prisoner's dilemma, in other words. It's not about cooperation. If what they mean is true, that this is going to either hurt the Democrats...
It's not just endorsement. Like, she went on his stream, I think, more than once, and they were, like, friendly and stuff. I think it's like they're equivalent of working together, basically.
What I'm trying to say is, no, I agree with that. I agree with that, but look, if you're presenting this as a prisoner's dilemma, we're assuming some metric by which cooperation can be had to achieve the societally beneficial outcome, or the most good for the most people. And I assume that was in the context of elections. What else would that cooperation be, other than with respect to elections? Do you mean another kind of cooperation?
So if you cooperate in a prisoner's dilemma, it doesn't mean that both of you will be better off. Like it will still be like
net benefit. Net benefit is maximized. Net benefit for both.
Yeah, but you might still have like a negative benefit from working together. So it will still be like a little bit bad to work with those people to cooperate, but it would be overall more beneficial than clashing with them, or it would be more beneficial than one of them not cooperating and you cooperating, and then MAGA also on the side. So
it sounds like it's overdetermined. It's like so it doesn't really feel like this matters that much, because if it really is the case that their ideology is so dangerous that it puts America at risk, or it puts our election odds at significantly at risk, or there's some personal beef above which we cannot rise, then it just sounds like the prisoner's dilemma cooperation stuff is all like it doesn't matter. This is all just like a side argument that even if they had cooperated in the relevant time period, it wouldn't change our positions here, and it wouldn't change Mutin's position. You understand?
Let me think. So, no, I don't agree. I think big part of his reasoning is that exactly that they haven't been cooperating. Like, I don't think he would, and ignoring like the Mike from PA association. Let's say she never met Mike from PA, never endorsed him, never stuff like that. So there's no personal beef. I don't think he would like say that he would prefer MAGA over her. If there was cooperation, if the left wing was cooperating with the Dems,
So why didn't he raise that during our conversation? Yeah, because I take him at face value when he didn't raise the Mike from PA argument in our conversation, and he didn't raise what he was raising were issues related to illiberal takeover stuff.
So
why didn't he raise this issue?
I think regarding the Mike from PA thing, I think it kind of undermines his argument to admit that, at least, or in a to say it's personal. But I think it's valid to have like personal preferences like that. And
by valid, what do you mean that it's moral? You don't think it's moral because you have a different outlook. By valid, you just mean you understand it emotionally, right? Not that you agree with it.
It's hard for me to say, like...
Do you agree with him, yes or no, for him raising that as a bar to support the candidate? Do you agree with his position?
Dude, I'll answer and then I'll ask a question. So
sure.
I don't think it should be the determining thing about... So if it was only the beef, I wouldn't say that it's... enough justification.
No. Should that be calculated such that it's dispositive?
Should that even play a role?
Yeah. Should that play? Or I'll ask it first: the stronger, then the lesser. Do you think it should be given dispositive weight? By which I mean it determines the outcome, regardless of anything else. Do you agree with him on that?
It's positive.
Dispositive, by which I mean it decides. No. By dispositive means it determines the case. All you need to know is the Mike from PA stuff, and he knows he's going to vote against this person, or advocate for it.
No, I don't think it should be dispositive, and I don't think it is dispositive. I think it's just mentioning it, even if it's like not dispositive, would bring into doubt his like motivation, even if it is like logical and not based on personal vendetta. Okay,
and now let's say that the logic of it outside of the spite gets him to like 49%, and the spite is the one thing that puts him over the edge. You wouldn't agree with that either.
Uh, no, I don't
So
think so.
yeah,
But I don't think
I
things
think
like
the
that
answer,
work
even if it were
cleanly
one
like that.
percent, even if it were 1%, but it was the 1% that put him over to support Tiffany as opposed to oppose Tiffany. Even if it were 1%, you wouldn't agree with him factoring it in. So it sounds like you want to say that he should factor it in, but when push comes to shove and when it matters, you'll say it should never be the thing that determines what your disposition is.
Mm.
So I think that that's a virtue signal.
Is it the virtue signal is talking about it at all, or what?
No, I think it's a virtue signal to say that it's valid to consider it, and by valid we mean good. If you say that you shouldn't consider it, even like whenever it puts you over the edge, it doesn't sound like it really should ever be a factor. At least not a significant factor. At least not a factor that will contribute to going one way or the other. And so when you say it's valid to consider it, I don't think you think that.
Okay, but like for if one of your best or your best friend.
Yeah, it would be irrational
like
and stupid. Yes, I might do that, right? Like if it was a murder, someone who murdered my family, right? I know where you're going, right? Like I might do that, but then I would acknowledge in retrospect it was wrong. Yeah, I might take Mutin's take Mutin's position, but I would be morally wrong to do so. That's all consistent, right? Because I'm a failing human being.
But you would do the morally wrong thing in that case.
Well, no. In that situation, I might. It would depend on the nature of the threat. It would depend on, like, let's say it was my mother or a family member or something, and I just couldn't physically bring myself to do it. I might not be able to do it, but and I would acknowledge, though, that was the wrong thing to do. I did the wrong thing. I did the thing that ought not have been done. You understand? Just like, this is the same thing as, like, a father who kills the murderer of his child when he really should be, like, letting due process play out, you know? Like, that was, you understand it, right? And I might do it. I might ask for execution, but maybe if I have a principled position against it, it would be the wrong thing to do.
Okay, and
right?
If you have like but if you have like a logical argument that already determined your non-support for that candidate, would you then in a debate about not supporting them, would you
raise the other
bring up your dislike of that candidate regarding the personal matter?
Not if it's overdetermined, and unless I had to concede on the logical argument, right? Then it's like, I think you do have to bring it up if it's a debate about that, right? And or you could say something like, "Listen, I have another reason, but I can't discuss it right now," and then the debate ends or something, right? So I hear what you're saying, but then we should just discard
I think
the personal stuff then. Which I would be inclined to do.
I would do that as well.
Yeah, okay. So let's discard that and let's just move on to the kind of cooperation point and ask whether or not.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that the reason he might have not said anything about it during the debate was because if he brings it up and it wasn't the determining factor, it like undermines him. Like you would basically have this argument with him about is it determinative, is it not determinative, etc. Stuff like that.
Yeah, but okay, but look at what you're basically saying is that he should tactically withhold one of his arguments because I might be able to like make him look bad because of it.
Yeah, but you would do the same. You said in your if it was you on the other side.
Yeah, no, but I might be open and be like, listen, you might convince me on the logical stuff, but I'm just telling you, I'll never support her because he said this about whatever, and I know that that's not the right thing to do. But then I would be on the hook for explaining to my audience that I'm doing the wrong thing, and most people don't want to give that ground. But that is, I think, the essence of like what you would be asking to do.
Yeah, but he didn't. You would do that. You would bring it up even if you didn't concede the logical argument.
If it was a debate about that, right? And it was relevant.
I don't think he considered like the logical.
Yeah, maybe not.
Thing, so I don't think.
I would sooner.
He should bring it up.
Okay, if he wants to keep it in his pocket and just pretend as though it's not relevant, I'm fine for him to personally hold that too. But you're saying that he raised it, right? You're saying that he publicly raised that?
Yeah, I think that's like one of the things.
So why raise it? So why raise it?
Talking to your audience.
Yeah, but why raise it then and not in a debate?
Because I think you do this as well. Like in a debate, you are trying
withhold
to
arguments?
Win. No, well, not when it's like how can I say? If you're acting in good faith, and you know what is your intention.
Hey, no drama. Like, wait, can you just pause?
Offer the opposition.
Please pause. Guys, in the chat, stop the drama. Ban people who are drama baiting. and we're not going to tolerate it. Thank you. Do not drama bait. I have no interest in it. Get it out of here. All right, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to say like you wouldn't offer like things to potentially impeach your character if you believe like that you're acting in good faith and it isn't like part of your determination. Like you might say, oh, but you can't know that for sure. You might subconsciously dislike Hong because of that thing, and it's actually determinative, even if you don't logically believe it is. But I don't think like you would also. I think you sometimes do this as well. Like everyone does this when they are debating. They don't offer every subconscious bias they have to help their opponent.
Yeah, no, I don't think I get. Can I offer a subconscious bias if it's subconscious? But if it's a conscious thing, you know, I've offered such things before. Yeah. And I've been like, listen, I'm biased in favor of Democrats. I'm biased. Like I've said things like that before in discussions, but you know, yeah, it's okay. We can move past that and get to the actual point. Yeah. But it's just notable to me because I don't think that you think it's good to consider that in the overall disposition. I think you understand it. I think you can relate to it. I think you can empathize. I can, but I don't think that you think it's something that you should be considered.
It shouldn't be determinative. Okay. Yeah, like for instance, it is similar to how the arguments about people voting Trump over Kamala because
their like, families
Muslims voting for Trump. Yeah. And I wouldn't agree that should determine your non-support for Kamala in that case. So I wouldn't do it for Mutton as well. But I think like he has his logical argument, and that's the reason he does that.
Yeah, and let me tell you, maybe this prisoner's dilemma framework, because that's what I want to get back to. That's what you raised. Maybe this prisoner's dilemma stuff is in the cooperation and lack of cooperation with some of these people is feeding into this emotion, or maybe it's even feeding into the argument themselves. Maybe that's true, but it just feels to me that if we were to add all the cooperation for 2024, I'm not sure it would change if we're taking the arguments on good faith about the future of the Democratic Party, about tankyism, and about like optics. I think that all of those, like Hasan still said America deserved 9/11, right? It's still the case that some of these people advocated for prison abolition. It's still the case that they won some of these primaries, right? And so what would this cooperation thing change about the overall disposition? That's why I don't think it's like really something that people invoke. I think they invoke it because they want to appeal to like this inherent sense of fairness. And certainly, like, it appeals to me. I get really angry when I start to think about all the bad shit that Trump has done. But I don't think that it's actually doing much work in the arguments themselves.
So I think if it was the case that those left-wing voices and left-wing candidates were properly, consistently supporting the Democrat Party, I think it would fundamentally change like the way it wouldn't change their policies, but it would change the nature of it wouldn't be like a subversive element in the Democratic Party. It would be like a coalition with different values that isn't like
then you're kind of changing their nature, right? Then you're like DSA minus subversion, DSA minus attempts to do like basically DSA takeover, and now you're kind of saying like cooperation on this game theory necessitates them not wanting to take over,
or not take over by shitting on Democrats and like covertly trying to like take over. If you like campaign on the merits of your like, suggestions and you don't like shit on Democrats when you lose, or when your candidate loses the primary or whatever, and if you like wholeheartedly support them in the general election and stuff like that, if that was the case, I think it's much more I wouldn't have like it fundamentally changes like the relationship, and it's like not the same scenario as we're now.
It sounds like cooperation, so far as the game theory of the prisoner's dilemma is concerned, relates to not just like dispositions on discrete elections, but also how like you treat one another broadly, whether you're treating them broadly fairly, whether the criticisms are like good faith as opposed to bad faith criticism. And then to me, I'm starting to lose the whole structure of it, because it's like all that shit seems like so hard to determine. It was just really what's gonna. I mean,
it's
and it's all in the
cooperation
eye.
versus non-cooperation.
Yeah, but cooperation here is cast in terms that are very subjective, right? Not just like, will you
More
squeal the
holistic, not
police?
subjective.
I think holistic and subjective, both. So let me give you an example, right? Like with the
Okay.
prisoner's dilemma, as probably understood, you cooperate with the police or you don't, right? It's a binary. It's on or off. Cooperate, don't cooperate. With this, maybe there still is in your head some calculus that'll determine cooperation or non-cooperation. I'm not saying it doesn't result in the same kind of binary, but it's harder to determine, right? And like, how do we start seeing who's cooperated? How do we know if the cooperation switch is turned on if it says things as like, whether they're doing things in good faith, whether they're just presenting as opposed to subverting? It seems a lot harder to determine whether you're in the state of cooperation or in the state of opposition. Someone's good faith argument could be other, like, there are people who say I'm bad faith in arguments. You know that, right? You've seen that? You've
Yeah.
seen that, right? So I would be seen as
Yeah.
non-cooperated on that view, right? By those people.
Not in the way.
Maybe not in the global sense, because
prisoner dilemma is set up.
Okay, but you know what I mean? Is that like it's not as simple to notice cooperation. Fair?
Yeah, but if I ask like 100 DGGers, if you're like in the scenario of the prisoner's dilemma, if you're a cooperator or a non-cooperator, I think like, well, there will be like 10% maybe that are trolls, but like I think 90%, or at least in their heart of hearts, will say that you're a cooperator.
Put the poll up right now somewhere on DGG. Put the poll up. You think you say 50% plus, or sorry, 90% would say I'm a cooperator for the they say that I'm a subversive element, that I'm opening the door for tankies.
Yeah, but we're talking about like a holistic view of the things. Like
yeah, a holistic view of me as a character.
Questionably, you.
Oh, really? Because the way that the sense that I'm getting, the vibe I'm getting, is something very different from that. If you take that poll, I'd be shocked if there was majority support that I'm a cooperator. Do you understand that most of them are now saying that I'm anti-Semitic?
I don't know.
Oh, you haven't heard of that?
I don't know. Like, no, I've heard like the Destiny stream. I don't know what's chat's opinion on this topic is, like, or the overall vibe of like the community, if they subscribe to what he said.
Okay.
Like, but if we're like talking about like, but you said that it's not like a objective standard, so it's really like it's a subjective determination if you're cooperating or not cooperating, like for the DSA and like the socialist types.
Yeah,
so
it wasn't really subjectivity. It's just like it's really hard. Yeah, it's like damn, like Kyle would be. You would say Kyle is not cooperative, right? Because he didn't. And what are the reasons?
Yeah.
Give me an example. Walk me through Hasan, Kyle. Walk me through like two cases. Sorry. Walk me through a tough case and walk me through a tough case for where it's tough to see, but they actually are cooperating, and an easy case of non-cooperation.
I would say Hasan and Kyle are probably the easy cases.
Okay. And what's the reasoning behind that?
You might disagree. Well,
I'm not going to disagree with you. I just want to hear it. Yeah.
The presidential candidates.
Okay.
In like a very extremely consequential election.
Mm-hmm.
And in the case of Kyle, I think multiple elections. I think it's like it isn't like solely determinative, but when you combine it with their body of work, like the way they hyper focus on critiquing the Democrats and to the detriment of even like the position against MAGA, like they will go against centrist Democrats that are running against MAGA and try to take them down even after like primaries are over. So I think that's the easier case. I don't know if you agree with that.
I mean, I don't really vibe with the whole concept. I kind of am having trouble. I don't even know like what to weigh, how to calculate it. It kind of just feels like a vibe. Like, are they generally pro-Democrat? That's kind of what it feels like.
Do you think like if something isn't like objectively measurably determined or defined, then you can't like talk about it
I can have a vibe about it, but
in a
like I don't have a
logical
really
case, because like yeah.
go for it.
I just want, I think some of these arguments that you get into about this devolve into like the Loki's wager. Have you heard about it? It's like,
I have, but it's
well,
not that
if you
though, right?
can't,
It's not that. I promise you,
isn't
it's
it
not that.
like you would agree that at some point the
Yes.
cooperation, as stated in the example, is actually a real thing. Like there are people who are not cooperating with the
Yeah,
Democrat
but like,
Party against
yes,
MAGA.
and you're giving some easy cases, but what you're giving me with is like, did they endorse or not endorse? That's easy to understand, and then it's like the amount of their coverage, and that just seems to be like an empirical case, right? It's like how much of their coverage is negative towards Democrats, and it's like how much of their criticism is highly critical of Democrats. It's not clear to me whether we weigh like huge antagonism towards MAGA and to what extent. It's not clear to me that to the extent that like criticisms that are harsh but are true, are they discounted, right? And so there's part of it that's really easy to understand. Did you endorse or did you not endorse? But the whole thing about coverage, bad faith coverage, constantly shitting on, that seems to be a more empirical case, and it's not clear how we weigh these different things, like truthful, harsh criticism, bad faith criticism, criticism of MAGA. Does that discount it? And so that is opaque to me. And that's where I had trouble with North, because North was like coming on to be like, how much of their time do you think they spend on shitting on Democrats? And I'm just like, I don't fucking know. That's an empirical question. And he's like, do you think that they increase or decrease the tendency of people to vote for Democrats? I said, my vibe is increase, but to find that out, that's like a kind of whole empirical deal. And so that's the stuff to me that's super opaque. The stuff of it, like endorsing, not endorsing, that's all fine. But this like coverage thing, I don't know the breakdown in percentage time spent.
If you agree that there are easy cases, and like
yeah, Republicans are easy cases, I would think.
The easy cases. What?
Tim Pool's an easy case.
For what?
Right? For non-cooperation, I would guess on this.
He isn't even part of he isn't one of the prisoners. He's like one of the on the other side.
Oh, so then like
yeah.
All right. So who's the archetypical non-cooperator that we're measuring people against? How are you defining non-cooperation?
Well, I think it's people like Hasan. Maybe
yeah,
he's not like the ultimate case. Maybe it's like someone like Mike from PA.
So do you understand the circularity there?
Like the D program.
Do you understand the circularity there?
You gave an
archetype, which is Hasan.
Case.
Yeah, and it's in virtue of his coverage. So Hasan style coverage is defined as being non-cooperative, right?
It's not only Hasan that does coverage like that.
No, but I
wouldn't say it's Hasan style coverage. I would say it's like coverage that is socialist communist propaganda style coverage. Like you have the same type of coverage being done by like Mike from PA, from like the D program people, from like the new. Did you see the new Hasan editor or speechwriter guy? He basically does he has almost the same mannerisms as Hasan. I don't know who is giving them to who.
I didn't see it. No,
it's obvious. Like it's obvious like that. The influence either it's his way to Hasan or the other way. It is like a style of engagement with politics.
Yeah, I didn't see that, but
it's not just Hasan.
If you are saying something like socialist propaganda style coverage, independent of its effect on the election, right? It sounds like we're there's something about the prisoner's dilemma and these categories that should affect the ultimate disposition of something, right? In the prisoner's dilemma context, cooperation will affect something, right? It'll affect how many years you get, or what the penalty is, or whether there's even a benefit sometimes, right? And in this case, it's like, what is the connection between? So basically, we're suggesting is that there's a connection between what Hasan does and like negative results, right?
Yeah. So one of the negative results is like if you have like mutual cooperation, like you would have like, so if you don't have cooperation, so let's say how things are basically now, you might have like extremely controversial candidates getting into like the primaries, or actually that would happen in both cases, I guess. But
Like
you would
this would be like Hasan as liberal,
would,
right? This is who Hasan is, in other words. And so you're saying that his traits are what make him in one category, and that there's a connection between his traits, that is to say, a communist propagandist, and
no.
some results.
Sorry. So the reason it would be worse if there's no cooperation is because I think having like one side cooperating and the other not, on one hand helps MAGA win by dividing like the party and giving like ammunition and counter coverage from the left from our own side against our own candidates. Then you have like the fact that the communists are emboldened, and from like a liberal point of view, that is a negative.
Yeah, that's
result.
the empirical. Okay, so but there's an empirical case you have to make about that actually being true, that actually harms democratic outcomes, right? That's an empirical case.
If you're a
that's
liberal,
something you have to prove, right?
Communists prove which one?
That the coverage that you're styling, communist propaganda style coverage, Hasan style coverage, the non-cooperation coverage, that really leads to bad results, all else equal. That's like a burden you're going to have to prove, right?
Yes, I guess.
Okay. All right. So let's put that aside.
At least in the sorry. At least I think you're at least in the context of like the whole way like the side is conducting itself. Like, if
you want me to respond,
are you trying to say that like if I can't prove that the votes, if I can't prove that Hasan depresses voter turnout, then
I'm going to go two ways. So the first way I'm going to go is if I was able to prove, I'm not saying I can't, I cannot prove this, but if you could prove that Hasan style people increase results for Democrats, if that was proven to you, would you still consider them non-cooperators?
Increase for Democrats. I think it depends on how much and which, because if you have like if he increases the results of only like the ultra far left candidates, and he depresses like the turnout for moderates in like
let's say across the board, a net 0.5 irrespective of particular subgroup. Just assume it. It's for this hypothetical. I'm not saying it's realistic. I'm just trying to see what you care about. Would that make you think that Hasan's actually a cooperator? If it was empirically, and his coverage is exactly the same. He just happens to like activate people more politically. They see more Trump stuff and they vote more Democrat. If that were true, would you say he's a cooperator?
If he helps, if he increases support for all kinds of Democrat candidates, overall.
But his coverage is exactly the same. Bad faith, he's talking shit, he's doing all that stuff. Is he a cooperator?
Let me think, because I think, as I was saying, that part of my the like the equation of negative consequences isn't like the particular election only. It is like the combination of losing election, or like being negative in elections, and also like changing the party to like communism and stuff like that. So he might
assume no effect there
marginally.
Assume no effect on overall political ideology. No effect there. Just a marginal bump in tendency to vote blue.
Okay, if he was like ineffective in his propaganda and basically only helped Democrats against Trump.
But he's still talking shit. He's still doing bad faith. He's still shitting on people. He's still being unfair. He's still constantly shitting on Democrats, shitting on libs. Cooperator?
I don't know. He might be weak cooperator, or like
you should have that clear on your.
Or he might not even be in the scenario at all, if that's like the case.
Here's what I'm scared of, right? What I'm scared of is the following. The answer to the following question: is it possible for a communist to be a cooperator?
Yes.
How?
Well, I can say the extreme case in the case of communists. Like, if you're a communist that present, like as I said, if you present your ideas genuinely and like in good faith, and you don't
but you genuinely think Biden is a genocide supporter?
Party and
you genuinely believe that Biden supported genocide. you genuinely believe that liberals are far too conciliatory and basically, are counter to your ideology. You genuinely believe that prison should be abolished. You genuinely believe that private property should be abolished. Genuinely, you don't lie.
Okay, and also having all those things as your genuine beliefs, you also support Kamala in the elections
Yeah,
wholeheartedly, endorse
yeah. You
her,
say
and
she's not good enough, but you have to vote
tell
for her.
everyone to vote or their.
Yeah. Here's the dilemma,
Yeah, I
right?
think in that case
There's
you are a cooperator. So like,
so if
sorry,
Hasan,
I wanted to
so
answer
then
your
I'll ask
question.
again, right? Like if Hasan endorsed Kamala,
Yeah.
then he's a cooperator, right? Assuming he's genuine everywhere else.
Well, no, because you said that it isn't just having those opinions, but the way you act towards like
Yeah, no. Assume that it's the
those
version of
people, like,
Hasan where that everything he's saying is sincere and genuine. He's not lying. Assume that version of Hasan.
and he also like doesn't um try to, how can I say, try to.
I'll just I'm gonna give you the big picture. The big picture is I'm scared this is turning into one of two things. It's either an endorsement test for Kamala, or it's an ideology test, or the third thing.
It's not an endorsement test for
Wait, let me just
Kamala.
finish. So three. So I think it's three horns.
Yeah.
It's either an endorsement test or something approaching an endorsement test, an ideology test, or it's a good or bad faith test.
Okay, and if there's like, if it's multivariate, is that possible?
I guess, but then you should
Does it
spell it
have to
out.
be like this?
You should spell it out. We should be very specific
I
about it
think
before.
I did. Yeah, I think I specifically said that it's not just like, even from the start of our like talk about like this thing. I was talking that it is about endorsement. It is about like demeanor towards the the candidates in the primary and then in the general. It is about like the coverage and the type of coverage, and I said all these things. I don't know.
Okay. All right, so let's move on. Let's say that we have this framework. I find it difficult to apply, but let's say that someone fits on the do not on whatever horn of it. This would be politician or influencer. Who does this apply to even?
I think it can apply to both sides. Like there are some, let's say, Cory Bush, I think was an example that she goes in primaries, accuses her opponents of like extreme bad faith and like being basically bought by Israel, etc. And then when she loses, she says that Israel like killed like her candidacy, and she doesn't endorse the candidate. Goes on shows like shit talking the Democrats stuff, or even if that's not like not her particular case, because I'm not too familiar with her. That's what I've heard.
Okay, it can apply to
Things like
politicians
that
and
would make a
influencers,
candidate.
right?
Yeah, that would make a politician also
not a
like
team
part
player,
of the
right?
non-cooperators.
Got it.
Yeah.
But Sanders would be a team player. He hugged Biden and he supported Hillary, and Haley Stevens is a cooperator. She hugged Abdul, and she got it. All right, so we have this line. Oh, also, can this apply to moderates?
Abdul is also a team player, I think.
So can this apply to
centrists? Yeah, I think you have a higher bar with moderates and centrists, because one of the parts of cooperation is like since they are, or you would have to look at it from the side of the communists if they are cooperating, because I think for in the prisoner's dilemma they would be our side, or they would be us as a prisoner, because they are ideologically.
So the ideology is saying who we are,
doesn't it?
You tell me. I mean,
like,
who are we?
Well, in the scenario we are talking about a prisoner's dilemma of the communist wing and the liberal wing. No, these are the two prisoners.
So if that's a specification.
Sorry, I thought I was clear about that. If I wasn't, it's my bad.
No, but like now we're drilling into it, right? So yeah, you were clear about the wings there, but if it applies, for example, to voters, to the general population, we got mostly cooperators, don't we? We have the vast majority of cooperation, right? Of people.
Sure. I haven't thought this through a lot for voters, but I'm willing to like talk about it.
And then like the we then is like, oh boy, I would associate myself closer to AOC than Manchin, right? Would you agree? What about for you? As between those? Who are you closer to?
Is AOC a liberal?
I would say she identifies as democratic socialist, but I basically think democratic socialists are liberals in American context. In American context, in
Do you
American
think all
context, in American
democratic
context.
socialists are?
No, not self-ID'd, but
Okay.
in the mold of Bernie Sanders, I think Bernie Sanders is essentially a form of social democrat liberal type. Do you agree? He believes in rights. He believes in liberty. He believes in freedom. He's not trying to abolish all private capital.
Yeah, well, he's talked about stuff like that. Well, maybe not all private capital, so maybe, I guess he would be like far left social democrat.
I mean, his most big issue is like is healthcare, and he's not proposing, as far as I understand, a national health service like UK has, which is supported by like the Tories and shit.
Well, it would be like more extreme than the NHS, no?
Oh, I don't think so. Is Medicare for all?
It would cover like...
That's not universal health.
It would cover like
care.
dental, vision...
No, but that's... So UK system is like a national health service. It's like publicly owned
that's
health
what
care.
He's proposing.
No, he's proposing health insurance, publicly owned health insurance for everybody.
I think part of the Medicare for all proposal, at least when Bernie was talking about it,
is to nationalize like, all
government ownership.
Healthcare systems. If it's true, I'm not aware of
the
it.
Hospitals, I guess.
I think he's trying to nationalize and make public health insurance in this country.
I don't know. Maybe Chat can weigh in. I don't know.
You guys tell me.
In any case, it would be like very extreme, even by European standards, considering like some European
health insurance. Sure, yeah.
Like most are not like the UK. UK is like one of the most nationalized systems.
I'm not judging it on extremity or radicalism. I'm judging it on specifically whether or not it's a sufficient condition for you to be like a non-liberal. And I think in general, Bernie operates as liberal. But even putting that aside, forget about that. Who are you closer to? Who would you vote for, Manchin or AOC? Who more aligns with you? Joe Manchin, AOC.
From what I've heard, probably AOC. I'm not American, sorry.
Okay, so let's. So then it's like it's a little unclear.
But wait.
Yeah.
So, but you would say there are. We're getting back every time to the delineation like dilemma. Like if you can't like at the margins, if you can't like perfectly delineate the margins, then you can't talk about the concept.
No, I'm not doing that at all. What I'm trying to push on is this intuition that you yourself that you are so far away from the general place of these DSA candidates. Like, I'm not sure ideologically you're that far away from these candidates, such that they would be one. I'm not saying that there's no place, there's like a line drawing thing here. I'm just saying like in general, in the big picture, core observations, I don't think that like, would you consider yourself separate from AOC? And if so, on what? Just generally, not in any kind of specific line drawing issue. For the identity stuff, right? For the players in this prisoner's dilemma.
At least from like the public.
Yeah. What are the things? The big differences in ideology. I don't think that you have tons of them that you can identify right now as you sit here.
I think there are, but like I don't know if they're determinative. Like for, like, sorry. Sorry, someone was calling me. So what were you saying?
I'm basically saying, so like on this issue of like who's playing the game with us, right? There's a liberal wing, then there's a socialist. Like I think that those are like pretty easier categories with the influencers. But with the politician, it's like less clear to me, right? Certainly, I would say there's a huge, obvious distinction between like a Hasan type and a Hutch type. Agreed? Not going to quibble with you there. But in terms of the candidates that are actually there, I don't really think that there's this massive schism between where you're at, for example, and some of these DSA preferred candidates. And all that is meant to get you, because we should maybe come back to the conversation at a later point, is to try to specify the quote unquote players of the game that we're with, right? When AOC makes a move, does it count for us or does it count for them? Who are the denominators? Who's playing the game? All I'm trying to do is like stress test this prisoner's dilemma thing But we can move past this and get to the consequences, which is what I'm most interested in. If you want.
Sure.
Okay.
And I had some. I don't know if you want to spend the whole thing about
No,
the
we can move on
prisoner's
after
dilemma.
that. Yeah. So
The final point about the end result of the dilemma, I think, is like, as I said in the beginning, like there should be, if you are like ideologically committed to liberalism, and if you think that there is like an opposite side in like the prison with you, that you should be willing at some point to like concede some harm to for a less of a harm in the future, like in the particular case, like concede an election.
Oh, I'm always
by
willing
not
to do that, but I'm just
supporting or
gonna.
whatever.
Yeah, I'm always willing to do that. I'm just gonna discount future harms. There's a discount rate. I care more about harm today than harm tomorrow.
Let's say 2028 goes great, like or 2026, like the midterms, and then maybe you even get like a democratic president in 2028. In like 2030, if there's like maybe not a governor, and it's like between like a
yeah, it's gonna matter. A
who
crazy DSA,
was like a good
yeah, crazy DSA type, or someone worse than MAGA, or someone better
Adam
than MAGA.
Kinzinger.
Yeah. In a given context, I might vote for a Republican there after the threat of Trump is gone. You know, maybe. I mean, really, it's going to depend. A lot of these places, I'm almost certainly. I'm just going to tell you straight up. I'm usually going to vote for the more liberal left-wing candidate, unless there's some crazy situation going on. And the reason for that usually is have nothing to do with my personal like or dislike of them or their particular ideologies. Usually, it's things like judges. It's things like, policies, and less about their ultimate vision for governments or whatever, bullshit they said in their past. But I could imagine myself voting for a Republican. I would never, put it past me to, like, if there's a sane Republican in the future, to vote for them over some crazy lefty. For sure, I would do that.
Do you have like examples of decent Republicans and of crazy DSA people who are
I would vote
in like the scene that?
Yeah, I would vote for Mitt Romney over this woman who wanted to put people who are against Israel, and so people who are in favor of Israel in concentration camps.
Is she a politician now? Or?
Yeah, she was. I forget her name. Yeah, I would do that.
Would you put like any current or former Republican over like a current or former Democrat?
How far back we going? I might give Eisenhower a try.
Years, maybe, I don't know.
Last 10 years, it's gonna be tough, man. I don't think so. You're basically
Mitt
talking
Romney
about
or Adam Kinzinger versus Daria Lisa or something like that.
No, not right now. No, I'll take Daria Lisa. And I've explained this before in a previous conversation. I can give you the rationale if you want.
Well, I'm talking about like
in the far future, MAGA is no longer a threat. Candidate. What scenario? Where MAGA or something worse is no longer a threat?
The scenario was like you win midterms and presidency. Maybe there are still some MAGA fringes, or they might still be a threat. But
no. We gotta finish with it. We gotta install some judges on the Supreme Court, and that's gonna last decades. And you understand that? Daria Lisa is gonna put in judges who we need. We need people to put in judges. That's what matters.
But do you need her particularly there?
Over a Republican, yes. And you agree with that?
Yeah, but like it depends. If she's like the deciding vote, sure. I think that's part of but we are talking about like a case where there's still like.
I've answered your question. There are some situations where I would vote for a Republican. If you're saying that it's a situation where MAGA is sort of a threat, but not really, and it's like farther enough in the future where we already have a House, already have a Senate. If it's close enough in time now to where we haven't done the work of rebuilding our republic, almost certainly I'm going to vote for the Democratic candidate.
I think it's just like something to keep in mind, or like try to or maybe it will get brought up in other conversations, because you might say like, I would vote for like a Republican over, or a moderate Republican over like a crazy lefty, but
I said I would vote for
it's
Hasan
like,
over. I said I would vote for Hasan over a Republican in this context, and I stand by it.
so no, I meant like you said that you would vote for like Mitt Romney over some crazy lefty, right?
In the appropriate context. In the appropriate
Yes,
context.
and
yeah,
yes,
easily.
but the appropriate context seems either like
not in the next 6 years.
Something that will never happen.
Not in the next 6 years.
The political system.
Certainly not in the next year. Not in the next 6 years. No.
Even if it's like not a race that will determine like the judges, or it will determine like.
Yeah. Okay. If it doesn't matter as much, and it's then yes.
Like if you already have a majority, if you already have
if it doesn't matter, then
solid
yeah,
majority.
fine. Yeah. If it doesn't matter, then fine. Yeah.
Okay. I think that's decent. Like.
Yeah. I think we agree.
It's not like an easy admission.
I think what I'm saying, like, there are some like hard cases you can have, right? And you're really pushing me when it's like some out there lefty, and it's Mitt Romney who stood up to Trump in many key ways, right? And I want to reward that, right? I would want to reward Adam Kinzinger. So that's like, I'll grant you, it's harder. But if you believe, as I do, that there needs to be serious fucking work done to punish the corrupt actors under MAGA and for structural reform, then there could be people who respect liberal democracy more, who, notwithstanding that, won't be able to do what's necessary to defend it. You understand? Notwithstanding that they're more ideologically committed to liberal democracy, ironically, their insistence on this like unity shit will be the doom of us all. You get me?
Sure, I see that.
This is like Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? So think about Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? Arnold Schwarzenegger was voted Republican governor in California. He absolutely has called out Trump. He did so in honorable ways. He had these messages. And do you know what he did in California when Gavin Newsom proposed gerrymandering? You know what he did?
He didn't support the gerrymandering.
He said, "Oh my God, how could we do this? How?" He was not made for the moment. So notwithstanding he's more dedicated to liberal democracy than maybe one of these socialist types, he's not going to do the thing that we need. And right now, what we need is to gerrymander the fuck out of the state. That's what I'm getting at.
Sure, and I never contested, like, at the start I said that in the current situation, I wouldn't, like, supporting, like, the important elections going for, or not supporting the left side. But I said that it is sometimes, or it should sometimes be permissive to take the hit, and it that might be when you have a majority, and even a candidate who is weak on MAGA, you might take them even over like a leftist if you already have a majority. So
if
you would still be picking like a weak Republican, but you would be.
I can imagine that.
The others.
I'm not so. This vote blue no matter who thing. It's like a shorthand to mean they're just a really, really high bar. I've always said that like a trillion times. And the answer is, under most normal circumstances, I wouldn't vote for a Groyper Democrat. Now, there are some circumstances where I might, and that's only when you like do these crazy scenarios where, they're not running as a Democrat, so there's no reputational risk. There's no effect on nationwide Groyper suppression, right? And those things are really unrealistic in my view. And so given that, most realistic situations, I'm not going to support the Groyper Democrat. Even though they'd probably be better on votes right now, you know?
The reason like I tried to talk about like moderate Republicans versus like a leftist is because in like the examples that you get brought up to you often, it's like, would you support a Dixiecrat? That's never happening. Like that scenario.
Yeah, but you see me bite the bullets,
like
right?
Nick Fuentes on the Dems.
Do you ever hear me say that's unfair? I'll answer the question and be like, but thankfully that's not the choice before us. You know, I'll answer it and then I'll just be like,
I think that even
before us.
I think the more realistic scenarios are more important to answer, because those are more likely to happen, and then when confronted with that scenario, you have to follow like what you said, right? So I think having it said now that if you have like a good majority and you're faced between
Well,
a
it
moderate
depends on the
Republican
candidate and depends on how important it is. Yeah, but that's always been my
sure,
position.
but
Yeah.
it would help like someone confronting you in the future if
No, but
if
I've
it
always
has
said
like
that.
a situation similar to that.
Yeah,
Sure, and I might
if
have
there's
missed it. So
yeah, if there's like an overwhelming majority somewhere, it really doesn't matter, and this candidate's like particularly bad, and it really just doesn't change anything, then yeah, sure.
sure. Okay,
Wait,
so
there's
this
one
was
aspect of the
yeah.
of the whole prisoner's dilemma thing that I wanted to get to, which is like,
hmm
what's the so what of it? Let's say that they're determined to not be cooperating, then what?
Then, as I said, in those scenarios,
You
you
just adjust
vote for the Republican.
well, assuming all the other factors are properly considered, right, and balanced out.
Yeah, because you consider that losing, let's say, like a Congress seat when you have the majority, it's not as worse as the benefit that you have for your ideological opponents.
Right, then like this wouldn't matter for the influencers at all, right? Because if the only punishment is don't vote for them, it doesn't apply to people who aren't running for office. So how does this work with like the influencer stuff? I feel like we've narrowed it now just to politicians.
For the influencers,
Yeah, what's the so what for
I think-
influencers?
for influencers, the so what is not working with them and like treating them like an opposition.
Yeah,
platform.
back to that shit, right? We're looping the guys.
Yeah,
treat them like an enemy.
well,
Treat them like an
that's-
enemy. Make sure that people know your opposition. It's just all nonsense
We
fluff.
talked about this last year about this.
It's all bullshit. It doesn't mean anything. Because I treat
So,
yes, I treat some MAGA people nicely. I treat some non-MAGA people horribly. I treat some so how you treat people is like a function of many different circumstances beyond ideology and whether they're politically opposed to you. And so, what do you mean, like treat
I'm
them
not
like
talking
opposition?
just about politeness.
Okay, what are you talking about then?
Like, okay, so I think this transitions into like Democrats working with Hasan and like other left-wing people.
Oh, okay, good
And
transition. Yeah,
The topic, yeah. So last year we talked about this similar topic. I think it was specifically about Hasan, and I would ask you, like, do you think the Democrat candidates like AES and Hong should work like with Hasan and Mike from PA and Kyle Kulinski?
if they think it'll benefit their campaign and make them more likely to win, yes. Do you agree?
Okay. Not particularly, no. So
Why?
Last year you said that you would support Democrats spending their capital on Hasan until and unless Hasan is willing to vocally signal his support for Democrats over Republicans in electoral system. You said that if he took position, what?
Well, are you quoting me? What did I say?
Yeah.
I'm sure I didn't say that.
Yeah. I can link you the video.
Yeah, hit me.
If you want. Wait. Let me find the time.
Hit me. Are you in my DMs?
I need to find it in the transcript because I didn't prepare I just prepared the quote. Not
you said I conditioned cooperation on some sort of threshold of conditioned interactions.
I said, 1 second, I will share you the clip. Copy. Can I put it in the side chat or it's not working there, or where should I set it?
Yeah, just DM it to me.
Okay, 1 second. Profile message. Do you want me to repeat the quote? So I don't know if you heard me, like when I was saying it.
I want the
so
video.
You don't think I'm changing the quote?
Yeah, I just want the video.
I sent you the link.
I don't see it. Is it message requests? Oh, there it is. My bad. All right, let's see.
That's the first quote. I can search the others as well.
Oh yeah. So let's hear it.
Can you share it on screen maybe, or is it too hard?
Pretend that he is like a.
It's a little hard.
Just your Joro out from the movement.
When you say root out from the movement, what do you mean by that?
I mean, he shouldn't be allowed to LARP as progressive and as a Democrat.
I wouldn't
show unopposed and pretend that he's like a just your Joe Rogan for the Democrats?
I would support the Democrats
I think it's
not
like the next
spending their
sentence.
capital on Hasan until and unless Hasan is willing to vocally signal his support for Democrats over Republicans in an electoral system. That's I think the limiting principle there. I haven't heard enough from Hasan to know that he is someone
Spending capital, but if they think it's beneficial to them, is different, right? So spending capital means
Sorry,
using resources.
I was listening to your stream.
Oh, my bad. So I'd be in favor of not spending resources on improving Hasan and all that stuff.
I said that part. I was quoting
okay.
you. I
My
said
bad.
capital.
Yeah.
I didn't omit that.
Yeah,
sorry.
don't invest in Hasan unless he's willing to support your shit.
Do you think like going on his shows and like being like, or do you think the way he engages with Abdul is like a endorsement of Hasan? Abdul engaging with Hasan, is it an endorsement of him?
What do you mean by endorsement?
Like, do you think the way he
just tell me what you mean by the term endorsement
interacts
there.
with Hasan?
Just tell me what you mean by the word endorsement there.
Like his views and his programming, it's like a.
What do you mean by the word endorsement there?
Do you need like a dictionary definition or?
I'm asking what you mean.
I mean that he supports him. Is that then? Are you gonna ask me what supports means?
Like that he's friendly with him? That he's like that he endorses every position? That he supports everything that Hasan's ever said? Or that he's friendly with him? That he has a good relationship? That
he overall supports. That he overall supports his message and his what can I say, political project, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, they're highly aligned. I would agree with that. If that's what you mean by support, yeah, I agreed. But differ on key issues, right? And I think the evidence of that is wait. I think the evidence of that is clear, right? Because if it were Hasan or Tom Tiffany, who are you voting for in Michigan for the Senate race?
If it was Hasan and Tom Tiffany in the current system, Hasan. Like,
you vote for Hasan. Okay, so you would vote for Hasan over Tom Tiffany. Okay, that's interesting. So you kind of view them as
if everything else is like if he is put in, like if his mind is put into, or not his mind, sorry. If
it's just Hasan. It's Hasan versus
into Abdul.
It's Hasan versus Tom Tiffany. I wasn't expecting that answer.
Sure,
but you do treat them very similarly. I would say that there's a great deal of overlap in their views, that they support each other in terms of they're friendly and they're amicable with each other. But I don't think that El Sayed supports all of Hasan's views.
Do you think when a politician appears in the way Abdul El Sayed appears with Hasan, they're lending their political capital to that person?
Yeah. In a way.
When they go on to Fox News and defend Hasan and say, "Oh, he didn't mean that."
Yeah, but Hasan is willing to Hasan is willing to support El Sayed.
Okay, Hasan is willing to spend political capital on Abdul El Sayed. Do you think Abdul El Sayed is?
And if El Sayed is getting benefits out of it, and he is vocally supported them, then he should continue doing that to the extent that he thinks that it's beneficial, right? Do you agree?
Okay, but then you're not. Then I didn't quote you incorrect, or the quote applies, right? That Democrats, he is a Democrat, is spending capital on Hasan.
And he's willing to support El Sayed. I don't see the contradiction.
But in your quote, you say support Democrats over Republicans in electoral system. Did you mean only that particular candidate?
I meant index. Yeah,
capital on Hasan.
Index to who's spending the capital. Fair.
Well, it says Democrat side. I'm not sure if. Okay,
index,
maybe now you want to say that
if the Democrats spend capital on him generally, then that would change to making sure that Hasan supports Democrats. It's indexed to whoever's spending the capital. Does that make sense or no?
Not sure. I don't know if this quote
did you think that I said
sense? Can I say why?
Yeah, tell me.
I don't think the quote makes sense if it's like an individual candidate, because unless Hasan is already shitting on them, he will probably be beneficial politically to them every time, and no matter his position on.
Here's the use case that I suspect I was imagining is like we have the Democratic National Convention, right? And we have any amount of question time or something that we would give to like influencers in a debate or something, right? These are the kinds of perks that I'm thinking of, I think. But I'm sure my position was never don't go on his show unless he supports all Democrats. That's never been my view. And you know that because I've had these fights all the time.
Yes, and we talked about it last year as well in
Yeah.
the same conversation that I linked, that it isn't like the determining is not going on their show, it's how you engage with them.
Yeah, no,
You would agree that
what
you
I'm saying
would
is
agree
everything
that
is consistent.
the way
my
Abdul,
position has not changed. Nothing has changed.
yes, but you in our conversation, at least if I remember correctly, you didn't like explicitly, or you were open to considering treating people like Hasan as like a unfriendly platform. You didn't like end the debate by saying
I'm still
no,
open to that. Yeah, I am open to that. Do you think I'm not open to that?
And I want to test like some of the conditions, like because like it's a year later, and you also said, if you want me to find the timestamp, that
hold it.
wait, sorry, if he took or I can just find it, I guess.
These conversations are insanely boring and tedious. Do you enjoy them?
Oh, okay, sorry. Well, do you agree or disagree? If it's boring, do you agree or disagree that 1 year ago you generally meant that if Hasan doesn't start, or if Hasan didn't endorse, like start working with them, or how can I say it without getting into nitpicking? Sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was never my position that Democrats shouldn't do friendly things with Hasan. I said when it suits them and when he's willing to support them, to that extent.
Do you think in the last year, let's go from the other side. Do you think in the last year, since our conversation, Hasan has like improved his or has started endorsing and supporting Democrats generally?
Not other than those he's
or has yeah.
Like he's generally said the most important things to defeat Republicans and shit like that, but that's like more of the same, I guess. I don't know what you mean. Has he ever endorsed like all the Democratic candidates or a particular moderate candidate? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
I haven't seen him endorse a moderate candidate. And I haven't seen him endorse the Democratic Party wholesale.
Okay. And okay, so
what's the contradiction?
If we agree on that,
I'm just going to ask you the contradiction. What's the contradiction?
Yes, the vibe I got from, or sorry, the vibe is triggering. The outcome I got from our conversation last time was that you would be looking for this condition to be met for you to think he's not a hostile platform.
What do you mean by hostile platform? Do you understand? What does that mean?
A platform like Fox News, a platform like there
are some conditions under which I would go on. Yeah, there are some conditions under which, okay, for some platforms, right, there's reputational risk, right? And then I'm going to be like, well, we need to weigh the reputational risk. I might not even go on Nick Fuentes ever, right? Or Myron Gaines ever to have
ignore
a nice
the
friendly
reputational risk.
Okay, so putting aside reputational risk, I'm sure I've never said that you should, in platforms in which there's massive disagreements, even Fox News, that you should never have constructive, pleasant dialogues with these people. I would go on Fox News to give legal commentary, if asked.
Would you go on Fox News to have a legal commentary on a case where, for instance, let's say it turns out
where
that
the Democrats are negative? Yes, I would. Bullet bit.
Or like
yes, I would. Bullet bit. I just bit your bullet, right? You said in a way that negatively affects Democrats. Bullet bit. Yes, I would.
Sorry, not just Democrats. We're talking about like if it turns out like there's a migrant killing a innocent white lady, would you go and talk about how
I would give my take on it? Yes.
Why the case of the prosecution is good and
yeah. I would give a better take than whatever the Fox person is, and I would try to get some clout myself, and I would make the caveats that are necessary and say like this, by the way, doesn't speak of most, as you guys all know, immigrants do less crime overall.
You would give caveats even unprompted, right?
Yeah, the way that I might on a Hasan thing.
I think that's important. I think that's important.
You're trying to create a formula, right? Where this is the way that I'm going to call all Democrats to work with Hasan. Don't try it. It's not worth your time. Context matters.
Do you think the way I'm suggesting to treat Hasan doesn't
Which is what?
permit having
What are you
friendly
suggesting?
conversation?
What are you suggesting?
sorry,
I don't understand
I'm
what you're suggesting.
Trying to explain.
Yeah. No.
Trying
Put
to
it in two
explain.
sentences.
I'm
Two
saying-
sentences.
Okay, the same way you would go to Fox News and give your genuine beliefs and opinions,
Beautiful.
but you would give unprompted caveats
As appropriate.
clearly denote to the audience
As appropriate.
what your ideology is.
Beautiful. That's all I'll treat Hasan.
You should do the same with Hasan.
Beautiful. No disagreement. We're aligned. And Democrats should do.
Do you think? Yes. Do you think that's what all Democrats that are going on Hasan's stream do?
I have no idea. I haven't seen those interactions. Have you?
Well,
Have you watched
I've
those interactions? No.
seen a
Answer the
few.
question. So have you watched like cover to cover any one of these interactions that you can think of? Just be honest.
I've watched one with Abdullah Sayed. Yes, I've watched. What else did I watch? I watched with
I have
AOC.
no idea how those
a couple
conversations are
of-
going. I remember that they did the Among Us thing, right? I'm sure you have a problem with
Okay.
that, right?
Well,
If you can go chum it up with Hasan
3 years ago.
yeah.
Well, I would say I think it's hard to me to recollect right now, but I think Hasan was bringing up like unprompted like policies and stuff during that, and if you have like an ideological disagreement with him, like if you're a but I don't remember which they were. Like if he starts talking about like defund the police, and AOC doesn't say anything regarding that and just lets it pass by, and she doesn't believe in defund the police, then she's failing your condition.
Oh yeah, if yes, I would agree. Yeah, if Hasan says
Okay.
something about defund the police and she doesn't object or whatever, and by the way, it's possible that has happened, and it's possible you'll find cases where Bernie or AOC has done it and they haven't really pushed back and be like, you know what, I really think they should have distinguished themselves a little bit here. They should have done it respectfully, yada yada yada. But what's that? Is this really what we're fighting about? Is like nitpicking how politicians come on? I think that the you're going to want some recommendation with teeth. I think that what you're going to push for, if you're really serious about the manner in which you're approaching this conversation, is something like they should blacklist Hasan. But of course, you don't say that that's your view. I think that what is the representative
No,
view
I didn't.
Okay, but a lot of people say that Democrats should not
We
even
talked about
associate
this.
with Hasan.
I'm talking for myself, and
Okay.
even last year when we talked about this, my what I was talking to you and we were discussing was exactly this. Like when you go to those platforms, you behave like you're on Fox News or Nick Fuentes, like
As appropriate,
Well-
right? If the Fox News starts agreeing with you, if the host says,
Sure,
you know
but
what, you're right.
if yeah, but you would still like give all your caveats unprompted and stuff like that when they're appropriate to the case.
Yeah.
Yes, I think that's part of going on platforms like this. You don't see. I don't know if you expected me to say that if you go on Fox News, you should be screaming at them and calling them.
No,
like,
I was
bigots
just
and stuff
I
like
just
that.
always ask that because usually the implication of these conversations is like I'm failing in my duty regarding my interactions with some of these people. And then I'm always like, well, what's the example of that? And usually it ends there.
Okay. Well, I think even if you broaden it out of like the politicians, when we talk about influencers, like you're an influencer, right? Kind of.
I
And,
guess so.
Or
Kind of,
so
yeah.
you're a lawyer and a.
Yeah. Sure.
No, I didn't mean it as a disparagement. I
No,
wanted
I'm
to say that
fucking
you're also
with
a
you.
lawyer, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. But
I am.
like the influencers that engage with Hasan, I would say a lot of the things I've seen, and I've seen more of the influencers talking with him than of politicians because he engages with influencers more than politicians. A lot of them have been the softball, doesn't elaborate on disagreements or doesn't even mention disagreements, and even if when they're presented with ideological disagreements, they brush them off or like don't give their
Yeah, my guess is those politicians want
disagreement.
to appeal to the audience, and so they'll try to smooth things over.
No, I'm talking about like people like Pod
Oh.
America, for instance, when they interviewed him.
Oh yeah, I think that you
Like,
should,
a lot of-
especially when you're an influencer. I think that like if you hear some crazy shit, I think Mockler did a good job.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
It's been a while. I think there were some strong parts in that interview, but there were also some weak parts. I wouldn't be able to like talk about.
Yeah,
it
if
at the
Hasan
moment,
starts
but
saying some crazy shit in front of me, I'm gonna fucking step in and be like, "That's stupid, bro." I think everyone knows that that's what I would do, and I think that when PodSave doesn't do that, that's bad.
If most interviews and like interactions were like the Mockler one, I would think that's like a big improvement over what is the current climate around him.
Oh,
So
because you're saying he doesn't get enough scrutiny?
Yes, from at least from like the
liberals.
Yes.
Got it.
Yeah, and like even Soipio, when he was like with Hasan on Progressive Victory stream, well, you might say that it wouldn't be appropriate to bring up any of his like.
Would it? I don't know what that stream was about. You tell me.
Or their disagreements.
I don't know what that stream was about. You tell me.
A lot of it was about Israel, right?
Uh-huh.
I don't know if you've seen it.
I have not seen it.
It was like 90% about Israel and AIPAC. And would Soipio subscribe to everything that Hasan says about Israel and AIPAC?
I imagine not.
He's not here to defend himself, so well.
I imagine he would not.
Would imagine not.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Then in that case, that would be appropriate time to bring up like the caveats and disagreements. No.
I would have to see the structure of it. If it's like a 10-person, like we take turns talking thing, I don't know. I have to know more about the panel. If he said something crazy there, then I'm certain I would want to distinguish myself from whatever crazy thing he said. But it really just depends on the format, I think, and I haven't seen it.
Okay, and yeah, I'm not saying that's like the ultimate example. It's like it's just or that it's like because but I think you generally then agree with me that when when there are ideological differences or even just by the virtue of the platform being like Fox News or maybe something more right wing. What is more right wing than Fox News? Like, but not like reputationally.
I don't know.
Newsmax
or some shit like that.
Go on.
I don't think Newsmax has like hugely reputational.
Steven
risk.
Crowder or whatever.
Crowder, maybe. Yeah. I mean, like I've been on Tim Pool.
Yeah.
Like if Tim Pool asked me to give like dry legal commentary to his shit, like I would do that. Now I'm certain that there would be I'm certain that there would be like that I would give my spin to it, and that would cause some pushback. And so I anticipate that there would be like words exchanged. But if that never came, I would just give my take and let it speak for itself. Is there anything non-Hasan related that we can discuss to fucking give me some palate cleanser?
I think this. Yeah, sorry. I think this applies to like also like on Breaking Points and Crystal and Kyle. Maybe I don't know if it's the same extent because I watch less of their content, but and probably the topics will be different where you have a disagreement with them over on. But even going on those shows, you might like it is probably I would recommend like being like in the same demeanor as going on Fox News with the caveats and stuff like that when it's needed.
Breaking Points, yeah. Usually they bring me on to talk about something that we agree with. Like, so they brought me on to talk about some of these arrests and indictments of the like Prairie Land shooting at the facility. They brought me on to talk about some of the Supreme Court cases where I was able to just give the anti-Trump take. Sometimes Emily will ask a probing question or two, and I'll just agree where I agree, disagree where I disagree, and it's just normal. All of this kind of like micromanaging, this is cringe, man. This fucking sucks. If there's some big miss, like some debate where like I'm doing a debate right now, and Wick just like is giving so much ground to Ryan structurally, I'll call that out, right? But people are, I think, taking it too far and applying this incredible scrutiny to interactions where it's a different context or it's whatever, or all I'm trying to say is like this shit sucks, and it sucks to talk about. It's like really boring to me. That's tangential, it's meta, but it's the truth.
I don't know. It sucks to hear that because I think maybe some of the things you think are like
You're basically
don't
saying
matter as much
push
or
back.
stuff like that.
No, you're like push back when appropriate to push back, and when
Yeah,
there's something
but
that's don't let it
you'd
be
say
on.
the same.
I would say the same thing. So we agree, and so it's like we're running through examples where yeah, I guess agree where there's some something that's said that shouldn't be left unrebutted, or where there's a topic where it's being framed in a misleading way or in a negative way, and I'm like, great, we agree, and so it's just like we're going in circles, and it's
Wait, but you
giving me a
don't think
migraine.
you don't think it's well? Let's say you say that this is like the normal, like it's normal. It's like you will do this everywhere. Do you think? This is normal for every occasion? Like, is there platforms or contexts where even if you have like some ideological or not like if it's a friendly platform, wouldn't you treat it more less combatively in terms of like
Not always.
disagreements?
I mean,
Like,
I think Wix platform is incredibly friendly to me, and I take that. I'm very combative on it. It's a debate show for sure. If it's just an interview show, again, it's kind of your mileage may vary. I mean, we run Live and Learn, and part of the fun of Live and Learn is like expressing some of this angst from different kind of corners. Where I think Hutch is much more concerned about
Okay.
lefty influence. Like, so it really just depends. So I'm not sure.
but like if you have you met like do you know David Pacman or BTC or someone like that?
Yeah.
But like if you've never spoken to them before and you do like a first interview or like a engagement about some topic or whatever, you wouldn't be less you wouldn't be less confrontational than if you go for the first time on Steven Crowder, for instance.
I would anticipate more like pushback from Crowder, and so I guess I would be honestly, I don't know. It really depends on what I see on the day. I would expect the Pacman and BTC ones to be more congenial. I really do, because we mostly agree on stuff. But that's just like my expectation. And for Crowder,
Yeah,
but if Crowder was
I-
incredibly nice, I would match energy. I really would. I've done that before.
I think that most okay, and I think that this isn't like only standard for you. It's more about like as I said, it's standard for politicians, it's standard for influencers when they interact with people like that we're talking about.
Okay,
So-
thank you.
so
Yes.
I think
okay.
most
So what's
people-
the point? This is boring. Can we get to
Yeah,
it?
the point is that not that most people aren't like you. I think most people, when they're on a friendly platform, they hold their tongue about disagreements and focus on the positives and on the cooperation and stuff like that. But when you identify that these people are not part of like they're not the friendly side, then you should have the different demeanor. You're an exception in this case, no?
I think that there are some people who withhold their pushback because they're afraid or because they don't want to sour a relationship. I try not to do that, so maybe I'm an exception, but I don't really know what the overall trend is. I think there are a lot of this kind of like let's all get along and this kind of friend enemy distinction. I agree, it probably
Yeah, that's
exists.
that's what I'm against. Or I think if you operate on friend enemy distinction, like I think most people do, then you should better identify your friends and your enemies. And like I see a lot of that not being done correctly. And if you don't see yourself being,
I don't think
part
think
of
you really
this-
want that, because my friends don't call me anti-Semite. My friends don't
Okay.
say that I'm a bad faith liar. My friends don't say that I'm just grifting for money. My friends don't say that I should be kicked off of my show. That's not what my friends say.
But
Those
you
aren't friends. Those are
friends with
enemies.
Destiny.
No, but it's not. I'm just telling you the conduct where friend activity is happening, where people are being friendly, and it's maybe not the people who are trying to police my friendly or enemy interactions and trying to police them at the margins.
But you don't apply this friend enemy distinction. You said that you go the same way in both scenarios.
Yeah. Do I
unlike
hold
most
it against
people.
you?
So
Do I hold it? Do I hold it against? I mean, let's be honest here. A lot of my mods are DGG members. A lot of people,
Yeah.
I try to treat people as individuals, and when they will say something, I'll hold it as to them. I try to do my best there, but if you're telling me to operate friend-enemy distinction and to operate like ideologically, I'm just going to treat people.
No, sorry, I'm not telling you to do that. I'm saying that if for the people that do that then you shouldn't like consider friends people who aren't your friends. The way you operate, I think, is preferable than the way most influencers operate currently, because this, no matter the platform or no matter the alignment, you're willing to have like the to state clearly your ideological disagreements and stuff like that. You're not willing to bite your tongue, even if it's a friendly, aligned platform. That's better than the people
Nice.
who go on
Yeah, I
friendly
agree.
platforms and hold their tongue.
I agree. I totally agree with that.
people.
I agree with that.
Okay.
I think we're largely agreed.
The reason, the reason I say this is because I see a lot of people doing that, and I think it's like ruining the environment.
No, I think that like we should just be more comfortable with disagreement. That's one thing that I really appreciate about all these debate panels is, especially when afterwards people are chill about it. There was a sour taste in my mouth after what happened with like the Ryan Mullally, where he shows up to the debate and basically just talks shit the whole time and doesn't really engage. But in general, I'm totally comfortable with disagreement. People notice that I spent a lot of time interacting with Rob Noor and interacting and favoring people who disagree. Even still now, I favor people who disagree. So I love disagreement. I always have. And it's interesting to me. It's entertaining for me. And yeah. What can I say?
Yeah, and I think
Brad?
that's
What can I say?
based. I think that's
Yeah.
based. The last thing, I don't know if you have time, is about like anti-Semitism and like how you
Okay.
judge.
Let's try to be quick about it though. What's your
Yeah.
contention?
I think some of the stuff. I don't know how many. I might have missed all the conversations about this, but like I think in some of the conversations, it wasn't clear that like the intent is always like perceived. Like you can't know for sure
Yeah.
if the person is anti-Semitic or not. So you have to go by
Circumstantial
their
evidence,
actions, right?
actions, by by what they say. Yes, people are misunderstanding the conversation. It's a conversation not about what you can do to prove anti-Semitism, but it's about what anti-Semitism is, right? So it's a very different thing, right? Absolutely, you can prove anti-Semitism by showing someone to be a Nazi. I saw something where like Pisco says that Goering wasn't anti-Semitic. What? Why would my definition of anti-Semitism prevent you from concluding, based on reasonable evidence and circumstantial evidence, that Goering was in fact anti-Semitic and harbored prejudice against Jews? That's ridiculous, right? The question wasn't how one proves anti-Semitism. The question was, what is anti-Semitism? And that's why we're using these stylized examples when you could read minds, is to get grounded on what it is. What are we measuring? And of course, you can never read minds, and no one's asking for a notarized, signed copy of someone declaring themselves to be an anti-Semite. That's a straw man, isn't it?
Okay.
Is it a straw man?
But
of course it is.
Sure, but also I think it's not correct to say that because someone has like has stated like a reason, a logical reason outside of like, let's say, race or religion to hate a particular group, then that means that you can
use it to infer anti-Semitism in the normal case, but if you really can read their minds, right, then it just isn't by definition. The definition.
But that will never happen.
Yeah. Maybe it can never happen in real life, but that's tangential to what we're talking about, right? What we're talking about is what is anti-Semitism. You get me? So if someone uses it and says, "Oh, I'm not racist. I know that black people don't tip, and I'm against people who don't tip," we would look, twice at that statement and say, "Okay, you might say this stuff. We're not going to believe you. We think you're harboring some bias here." And these are stylized examples. But the question is, what if you really, really, really knew that it isn't about the intrinsic connection. It's not that you're prejudiced against black people. Then by definition, it's not racism. Agreed?
I think so, but then you would treat them, because you don't have the mind reading device. You would have to treat those people as if they're racist or.
You would just have a very good case, a circumstantial case for racism, right? Or a very good circumstantial case for anti-Semitism. That's not what we were arguing. What we were arguing about was what is anti-Semitism.
Okay, and I wanted to approach it from the practical side of what to do if the actions
right,
are
but we have
pointing
to,
in
but
that
we have
direction.
to,
But since you can't
we have to
read the mind-
agree. But we have to agree on what it is we're trying to find out, right? Because if you go looking for the dog whistles themselves, as opposed to the prejudice itself, it might lead you into crazy directions and insane bullet bites. That's the problem. We need to agree on our destination first. Once we agree on the destination, then we can make the case circumstantially, etc. You understand?
I think, okay, I yes, and I agree that there are probably cases where, for instance, maybe someone in their heart of hearts wasn't like hateful towards a minority when they committed like a hate crime or something, but because of their body of evidence or whatever and their past actions, statements, etc., was determined to be a hate crime, and they were judged and sentenced as a hate crime. I think that's the correct decision, because you can't you don't
can't
have
read
the
their mind.
technology. Yes.
Yeah, but just like
So-
in
so in
any case where you have to prove a motive or an intent or something, you
Mhm.
go by circumstantial evidence, and you get people in a room and you say,
Mhm.
listen, this guy said he doesn't like black people. Okay, that's pretty good evidence.
Yeah.
This guy said, or even if he didn't say that, he exhibited discrimination in these other ways. He would always charge them
Mhm.
increased prices, and this is all circumstantial evidence pointing towards intent. That's the thing
Yeah.
is, right? What I was trying to separate, and what I think Lonerbox was having some issues with and getting me to buy into it, was at bottom what the concepts actually were. And then we would apply them. And I'm not really willing to apply the concept before I fully understand its scope. And I use the examples I use to clarify the scope. And that's why they're always like, when we're at the starting point of the kind of analysis, I use these like simplified hypotheticals just to understand the full scope of the concept. And that's basically what I do. And then we can, once we know what we're looking for, then of course we make some reasonable inferences based on circumstantial evidence. So if so, and I've said multiple times,
Yeah.
and it goes to show you how many liars there are. I'm sorry. There's so many liars who say, he said that, Holocaust denialism isn't inherently anti-Semitic, as though that's an own to mean like, I wouldn't treat someone who denies the Holocaust as presumptively an anti-Semite. When I said multiple times, like 2, 3, 4, 5 times, I would presumptively assume that someone who engages in anti-Holocaust revisionism or whatever to be anti-Semitic. And that's just in virtue of how good of a predictor it is and how good empirically it is in associating itself with anti-Semitism. But people purposely, in bad faith, maliciously, like an enemy would do, take that statement and use it in bad faith to try to crucify me as an anti-Semite. For shame. For shame. It's disgraceful.
Okay, and I think, like, how can I say it? So for me, since I consider it impossible, like, to objectively determine like the inner mind state of like people. So the only thing I can go by is the evidence. And if someone denies the Holocaust and like talks about Jewish conspiracies and stuff
you're gonna
like
assume
that,
that.
I just say they are anti-Semitic, even if I can't scan their brain. And like a person with that thing
would have to convince you of their rationale. They would have to say, no, I'm not anti-Semitic here. My objection to the Holocaust, whatever, is based on these numbers. I've done this kind of anthropological or archaeological research, and so I'm not really in it for anti-Semitism. I'm Jewish, and in fact, I'm not disputing the whole numbers, just like by 100,000 or something, right? Then the person has convinced you, right, that they're not motivated by like they would have to make you think that in their mind they don't harbor prejudice, right? That's the thing that you're trying to figure out, isn't it?
Yes,
You're
that,
trying
that
to.
would that
Yes,
would be further
that was.
evidence. And,
So you
and it
so you
might
agree with
skew
me.
to one side.
So in that conversation in Lonerbox conversation, you understand? You agree with me. That's what I was saying the whole time.
I wasn't here to defend Loner Box. I was more here about, or the reason I wanted to talk about anti-Semitism is because I think that if someone talks about or covers the Israel conflict or covers like Zionism and AIPAC and stuff like that, though if you cover it the way some of these creators are covering it,
Hey,
then
drama
in
bait,
practice,
instant ban, no more warnings, instant ban, any drama bait, no more warnings. Warnings are done. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So in the cases of for influencers that engage with these topics, a lot of them, I think, they should practically be treated as anti-Semites until like there's further evidence to the contrary.
All right, that's something we should talk about at a later date. Is like the individual cases of what's
Okay.
the best inference, whether it truly is one or the other.
Okay. I don't know. Have you seen the Mike from PA clip where he says
Yes,
Jewish is a demonic ethnicity?
That I seen that anti-Semitic, clearly anti-Semitic statement.
And considering like his body of work and
I think it's a reasonable inference.
Israel, AIPAC.
Reasonable inference based on that statement. And listen, I haven't examined his body of work, but I would not take issue with drawing that conclusion.
That's good. And I would say that maybe the only difference between Hasan and Mike in that case is that Mike let it slip about demonic ethnicity, and I think that's kind of like when racist people let it slip the N-word, and you have a lot of evidence before that I think might be dispositive, but I think some people are looking for an admission, basically an admission to determine the
All right,
guilt.
we're done with Hasan, right?
Yeah. Well, okay, maybe not Hasan, but like for instance, who can I say? Like the deprogram people. Like if
I don't know
if
these
they,
people. I assume they said something about it's good to kill all Jewish civilians or whatever. Is that what?
Yeah.
Is that what it was?
Or like the baby settlers, the settlers are all valid military
I think
targets.
that's strong circumstantial evidence pointing to, anti-Semitic bias.
Yeah. What I mean is like.
But I don't know them. I don't know what's going on with them. I mean,
Yeah. I was talking about Hasan. I guess it's hard to because it's like a shared knowledge between us. I guess.
I get it.
I wasn't trying to single it out.
We've been talking now for 2
fucking
fucking hours about this guy, and it's just boring. And I don't know why.
Yeah, I understand.
And you understand that, like, I'm not raising him. People raise him to me all the time on all these calls, and that's why it gets fucking annoying, and why it seems like they're trying to bait me specifically into these team sports dynamics, and so that I like get involved in the drama and dirty myself up in the drama. I think that's like a goal.
Okay, then if we don't talk about Hasan, I don't know who
I'm just
we
like
both have like knowledge of. So
no,
but maybe like
I'm gonna end the conversation soon because we've gone too long. I understand that I think agree on the concept of anti-Semitism, and the next step, and maybe you can join in the conversation at some point with me, Avi, and Loaderbox, where we're trying to plan a conversation specifically about this. Maybe you can watch it. Maybe you can call in or something. The next step is going to be applying it and making circumstantial cases to individuals. I'm just telling you that's the next step. But I don't want to talk about Hasan right now because we've already talked about him for like 2 hours.
Yeah, sure. My ultimate point is generally that people will probably be mask on without admitting or without a super ultra determinative statement like Mike from PA most of the time. And I think there is good evidence for some of the creators besides Hasan that would, at least for me, skew it enough that I treat them as anti-Semites even if I don't know their brain state.
Yes, some people are mask on.
Yeah.
I don't know what are you expecting from me? Yes, some people are mask on.
Yeah. Do you think is it like Christo, not Christo Breaking Points. She was the one that interviewed Professor Zhang, right?
I don't remember. I think it was her and Sagar.
Yeah. Like I think maybe you would say that not pushing back on Holocaust denial isn't like determinative of prescribing like
No, it's not determinative.
treating
What are you
that
getting
person
at?
as an
What,
entity.
sorry, I'm ending the conversation, but are you asking me whether or not it's anti-Semitic? It's dispositive proof that because they didn't cut off Young when he said that whatever he said about the Illuminati, that I think they're anti-Semitic? Is that what you're asking me?
No, I think that is part of the body of evidence towards breaking points.
It's part of the evidential picture. I don't consider that very strong evidence.
Yeah. Okay.
Is there any?
Okay,
just get to the question fast, all right? If I'll give you another 2 questions. Get to them quickly. Don't beat around the bush. Just get to it. All right? I'll answer the question quickly. Just get to it.
Sorry, I'm sorry if I like.
You're exhausted with your shit, bro. It's just like you spend a million years asking a question when you really just want to ask is like pushing back against and not pushing back against Holocaust denialism or Illuminati shit. Evidence of anti-Semitism. I think it's equivocal evidence. I don't think it's particularly strong. No.
No, yeah, and I think
just get to it faster.
The reason I bring it up is like the way they cover Israel Palestine, the disproportionate amount of coverage, the types of stories they highlight, the like their whole like the body of work regarding Israel and APAC even in the domestic context, combined with like this
say crystal ball is anti-Semitic. Say it right now, if you believe it.
I think so. Yeah.
So crystal ball is anti-Semitic.
From the way.
Do you believe yes or no that she's anti-Semitic?
Yes.
Do you believe that Hasan Piker is anti-Semitic? Yes or no?
Yes.
I lack those beliefs. I'm not the only one. You know who else? And I'll go with him every single day. Ezra Klein said that Hasan Piker isn't anti-Semitic in his view, and you think that he's crazy?
I don't care what Ezra Klein says.
I know. I'm just asking. Do you think he's crazy on that?
He's crazy.
Okay, cool.
Or, well, I don't know if I say crazy, but I think I disagree with him, like fully or substantially. Like, I think you have like a meter of anti-Semitism because you can't know like the brain state, as we said. So,
do you think Sam Cedar is anti-Semitic?
I think Sam Cedar. I haven't seen enough to tell me that he is. No.
Do you know who he is?
Yeah, I know who he is.
He covers APAC a lot. He, basically also mirrors in terms of the Israel coverage. Majority Report. You've heard of it?
Yeah.
Do you have any basis to distinguish Crystal Ball's concentration on Israel versus Sam Cedar's?
Sam Cedar wouldn't like let Holocaust denial go on, or he's never done it.
That's the one. That's the one thing. Wait, no. So is that the one thing in your mind, as you sit here, that puts Crystal over the edge? Is the Professor Young interaction?
No, I think Crystal. I think Breaking Points more often engages with conspiracies regarding like APAC and Israel. But I might be wrong about that. At least that's my impression of Sam Cedar. Maybe you show me more evidence. Maybe he did not like let's Holocaust now go, or maybe he talks about conspiracy theories than even Crystal and Cowan. Then I might call him that.
Okay.
You're asking me about my opinion and on my
I'm asking your opinion. It just feels like this whole like concentrate on Israel, concentrate on APAC. This shit would apply to Majority Report, calling people genocide this, genocide that, focusing on these stories. That would apply, and no one wants to say Sam Cedar is anti-Semitic because, of course, Sam Cedar is Jewish.
No,
and
I think
that's
some Jewish
incompatible. That's not incompatible with being anti-Semitic, but for some reason, that concentration argument will work to diminish the eyes of someone, or call someone anti-Semitic who is not Jewish, but not someone who is. And so I wonder about the force of that argument.
I don't know. Well, I guess I have to.
All right, I'm ending this conversation. I'm ending this conversation.
Sure.
It was incredibly dull.
I'm sorry
Don't
if
you
I
agree?
exhausted you.
Yeah, no, it sucked, but we can talk later if you want. on applying it after I've
I-
had the conversation with Ownerbox and Avi if you really want. But yeah.
I don't feel it was though, and I kind of I don't like the characterization, so I don't
Sorry about
appreciate that. But otherwise, I appreciate the conversation.
Likewise. Have a good one.
Bye.